Hey YouTubers, Grimmy Dragon here, and once again it's review time. And today we are taking a look at the Super Retrocade from Retrobit. Yes, we're actually looking at a video game system this time, which is unusual, but give me a break. This is something new, and I'm kind of interested in it. I know I'm a little late to the party on this thing, but I'm still very excited to give it a try. So looking at the box, yes, we're looking at the box this time. You got the logo, you got the system, Strider, and Megaman. So you got a Capcom backing. On the side here, you actually do got a listing for backing from Capcom, Data East, REM, and Technos. Along with a listing of a few games, Final Fight, Mega Man 2, Joe and Mac, Burger Time, Double Dragon, and up to 90 games. Opening up the flap, you can actually see some more of those games. And yeah, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Couple that you could see on like Super Nintendo Classic, but, well, actually only one so far. Still, it's a nice set. I'm quite pleased. And another little look at some of the screenshots or the titles. Pretty cool stuff. And yes, the back. We'll look at that. You got some nice items. More titles. A look at AV versus HDMI, as if we didn't know how that compared. And yeah, this has AV and HDMI outs. So, not bad. But let's get this thing open. Let's see what we got inside. So, just pull this open, pull it out. And, alright. Box out of the way. There is instructions in there. I'm not going to look at them right here, but you got your system, relatively small but to the point. Power button, 2 USB ports, so multiple controller options, I guess. AVI and HDMI and an SD card slot, which will enable some nice things for us. And now we also got the like a HDMI cord, got your power cable, and you got 2 controllers. And I'll just get one out of the plastic so we can get a feel for it. Simple USB controller. Decent buttons. It's not like the greatest controller ever, but it will do. It will do fine. But yeah, that's all that's in there. So let's just get to some gameplay. And we're back. Yeah, we got the Retrocade all fired up and ready to go, and we're going to do this a little bit, get into some of the details about this before we actually get into some of the games. So, let's see, where do we start? Just want to pick a good game to actually demonstrate with. And I think we'll start with Captain Commando. So, usually you can just start up by getting right into it, like so, just hitting the A button and hitting start game. But you may notice a little bit of a problem when you do it like that, where it actually just stretches the screen out quite a bit. So we'll let this start up, and I'll show you what's up. So you can see it's all stretched out a little bit unusual, but hey, you can actually still play. But this will be a problem for other games. So let's get to it. And yeah, as you can see, button responses are pretty good. And yeah. But we gotta get out for a moment. And I want to show you some of the settings. So yeah, you can turn the volume up or down if you want. Or you can turn the background music off if you want. And yeah, just hit an A button will reset. Oh, oops. So yeah. Now for video, full screen will bring it to fully stretched, while original size will actually get it to where you can actually have it the original size. And then you got the options to change the button layout and change the language and reset the system to factory settings. But with all that done, we can start the game again. And as you can see, it's working quite nice. So since we're here, we'll start with Captain Commando as the first game, and then we'll just move on to other games. So let's just get to it. And I'll try Baby Commando this time. As you can see, it's a nice little beat 'em up. Capcom one, and very unusual. I mean, having Baby Commando as a character is unusual in itself. The graphics are good, it plays well. And there's something amusing about beating up bad guys as a baby. In a mech suit. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, and now I'm a baby in a mech suit. In a mech suit! You get a feel for that. Well, that's meta. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So why don't we get on to the next game, see what we got there. And yeah, just hitting select and start will allow you to go back to the main menu and pick the next game. And we'll just cut and move on to the next game right now. Okay, so we're actually going to start off with Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is also on the SNES Classics or the SNES Mini. So yeah, you got options to play that, and this is included, fully licensed by Capcom. So yeah, if you missed up on the SNES Mini and still want to play Super Ghouls and Ghosts, here's your second chance. But yeah, we'll probably try to get a feel for how this compares to the SNES Mini as well. So I'll probably try to splice that in right about now or so. Yeah, I'd say right now. So we can actually get a nice side-by-side of how these two look together. Although I may course, I'm not doing so well on the Retrocade version, at least. But yeah, as you can see, it does play well. The controller is nice and responsive. Oh, and I died. Oh well. As you can see, it does play well, so how about we get on to the next game? So yeah, we're going to look at the only Genesis game on this set, the game Mercs, the Genesis version. The arcade version is also available, so if you want to play that instead, you can. But it's nice that you have the option of playing either the arcade or the Genesis version. Although, it would have been nice if they got some other Genesis games in here. But there is something you can do about that, and I'll show you later. Now, honestly, I'm not all that great at this game, but unfortunately, I don't have anything that would show the Genesis version of this, so oh well. But still, a nice little shooter kind of game. So that's pretty cool. I'm quite pleased with this. But yeah, it's a pretty basic shooter game. So yes, we're going to go with Megaman 2, a true classic, and one that was on the NES Classic, the only Mega Man on that, but this and Mega Man 3 are in the Super Retrocade. Graphics, they look pretty good. A little softened, you know, not by much, but, you know, there's a noticeable, like a slightly noticeable bit of blur. Not so much here, though. But it's not as sharp as it could be. Still looks good. Now, controller-wise, say the Retrobits controller is okay. It's usable. Unfortunately, there may be a bit of a delay. I'm not sure. I've been having trouble with jumps lately, so that could just be me being bad at games, which is very true. I'm bad at games, but I've tried other controllers. My fight sticks, both the Hori and the Mad Catz versions, they don't work. The Mad Catz fight pads don't work. And unfortunately, Logitech controllers don't work either. So yeah, the Retrobit controllers are the only ones I have. Which is sad. But, you know, they work. And I'm probably going to have to try to order some controllers, at least get one of those zero delay USB boards for a fight stick. Because, you know, arcade games, you need to have an arcade stick. Still, this is a fun game to play. So you should definitely try to get it one way or another. And don't let my bad gaming fool you. It's good. But it's time we got on to the next game. Now this one is called Mystic Riders. It's a bit of a shooter, I think. I don't know, but I think it was not one you commonly found in the States. So I could be wrong on that. It looks like it's in English, but yeah, I think this is one that didn't really get much of a port or anything. Like, it was never ported to systems or anything like that. Again, I could be wrong. All I know is that it's not bad. Nice little shooter. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And yeah, nice thing about arcade games, they don't really require, well, they're easy to get continues on when you're not playing in the arcades themselves. Which is nice. But enough of the games. Let's actually see the other feature that will be very welcome to fans. So the other nice thing is, if you have like a few ROMs that you want from an SD that you can put on an SD card, you can actually play them from the Super Retrocade just by plugging in the SD card and selecting SD card for storage. And yeah, you can play Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, and arcade games, which is really nice. And we're going to get into a few of these and show off something very important. Well, a couple important things. So let's get into our first game, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And there's going to be something here I want to show you, because it's rather important to me. And I want you to pay attention to it. So we're just going to blast through. And it's nice that you have the ability to play these games on here. If you have them like on a Genesis, but you don't really have a good HD option, and don't want to go through the trouble of trying to get all those chords or modding or anything like that, it's nice to be able to get like a ROM of it on here to use that instead. Or if you have like the Steam collection, but don't want to play it on the computer all the time, or don't like how it's emulated on the Steam collection, which is very valid. I'll show that off in a sec. But I want you to listen very carefully as Sonic passes the sign. That sound is a really good indicator of if this is a good emulation of the Genesis or not. And yeah. And I'll probably have a clip here of Sonic doing the same thing on the Steam collection, the Steam Genesis Classics collection. And you'll probably see how bad it sounds. So hopefully, if I'm doing this right, I'm just kind of guessing right now because I haven't done it yet. But yeah, this is a pretty big deal, so at least as far as I'm concerned. Another advantage of having this feature in the Super Retrocade is the ability to play translated Japanese-only games. Like East Keflin Lost Kingdom of the Sand, which was only released in Japan and never got an official US release. So yeah, here we do have the like the Japanese version fully translated into English, which is great. And if there was anything that would be recommended to use this SD card feature for, is to play the translated games. So as you can see, the game is fully translated, so it's in English. So yeah, this is really nice, and as you can see, it plays well. I mean, East is a bit of a slow starter, but yeah, you can play some nice games. And one of the last things I wanted to go over was how this can actually play on the Game Boy Advance games, because there is something I want to bring up. And that is the sound quality on the Game Boy Advance. As you can hear, it's a little bit choppy. And I'm not sure why, but it just doesn't seem to play right. Like, you can play it. It's not like it's a game-breaking problem, but it just feels like something's up. Like, it doesn't feel like it's chugging, but it does feel like the sound's off. And that's a little disappointing, because since I'm kind of lacking a Game Boy player and a GameCube, this would have been a good way to play some of my Game Boy Advance games. But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. Yeah, so that'll pretty much wrap it up. Do I recommend this game? Well, do I recommend the Super Retrocade? Yes. It is a wonderful little console. 90 games built in, which is awesome. And they're pretty good choices. You got the Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you got Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins. You got plenty of games that are quality. You got the Joe and Max series. You know, there's a lot of good games here. And you can add more to it, which is wonderful. You can actually check out various groups for ways to get games. I would definitely recommend this. So, yeah. And, you know, adding games is pretty easy. Just load the ROMs onto an SD card to get the picture. You can actually add any kind of picture you want. Just name it the same name as the ROM and then put game at the very end of it. And you're good. So, yeah, that's pretty easy. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye out there, whatever you are.